Well, you led me to this platform, Bookie. It's all of your excellent work and PR. No, honestly, I'm very much about networking and, coming from the marketing world and event space. I really believe in collaboration and connection. And I think together we are better.
Hello, wonderful people. Welcome to another episode of Female Techpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Bookie Babajide, and today I have a privilege of having an interesting and innovative lady, Nevine, a tech entrepreneur who's making waves with her innovation and a vision of being the first person in the UK launching a dating app for single parents. So, she's the founder and CEO of PlayDate App Limited. Nevine, thank you so much for being here today. Can you just tell us a little bit about your journey into launching this app?
Sure. Thank you so much, Bookie, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and be part of the female techpreneur community. PlayDate, where do I start? So I'm a single mom, so I am the consumer. I've been a single parent since 2016. I'm not originally from the UK. I'm originally from Egypt. I moved to the UK in 2012 with my then husband. A few years down the line, we had our son, and then the marriage kind of disintegrated from there. I'm very grateful because we have our son. My son is, the apple of my eye. He's everything for me. But I had another business before PlayDate, which was a marketing agency specialized in events and within the tourism sector. Okay. So you can imagine what happened when the pandemic hit, and obviously tourism was dead and all of the events. There was no events because we were all in lockdown. And I always had this idea to create a dating app for single parents because I found it very difficult to meet new people after divorce. And with all of the mainstream dating apps like Tinder or Bumble, the moment you say you have children on a date and an ex-partner, they start to, think it's too much baggage. Mm-hmm. And children are seen as baggage in many cases with these mainstream dating apps. So I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if there was a dating app just for single parents where everyone understands what it means to be a parent, everyone knows the kids come first, and you can take away the stress and worry of, what are they going to think when I, say I'm divorced or I've got a child or crazy ex-partner or whatever it is. So I just never had the time for it. So when the pandemic hit and I lost everything, my business, I decided to really pursue this idea. I did my research and realized that there was nothing out there for single parent dating. I have no tech background myself, so I'm actually I don't have any tech knowledge. I've studied marketing at uni, and I'm really a marketeer at heart. So that's my passion, is in marketing, and my skill set is really in marketing. But I knew that the idea would work because I am a single parent. So I know what the pain points are. For example, childcare is a huge issue. Time is we're very time poor as single parents. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to waste our time on dating, especially it's also a costly experience, right? Because I have to pay a babysitter to go on a date. So I don't have to pay a babysitter and then go and have a useless date and feel like I wasted not only my time, but also my money. Fantastic. So I did my research and I found some lovely developers out in India. I didn't have much budget. So it's a bootstrap business. So I spent almost all of my savings. I convinced my family to pitch in. So my brother, my mom and dad, everyone helped me out to create the app, really. Okay. And within that year, the story is a bit not depressing, but it kind of shows you that you can be at your lowest point, but still manage to come out with some things. That I also got bank scammed in that same year. Oh, wow. They took everything I had. It was something called spoofing, which they call you from the bank number. And that's for your code. They have and they made me, basically. They said there was fraud on my accounts. And they had all of my information in front of them. And they said, because during COVID, there was so much fraud happening. Yes. I remember even many of my bank cards were hacked. I had to change my cards many times. And the number of horror stories of people just, getting ripped off everywhere. Because during COVID, people had nothing. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So I lost everything at that point. And then I just thought, I had nothing left to lose. So I said, I'm going to give this a go. And if it succeeds, great. If it doesn't, then maybe I'll pack up and go back home to Egypt. I've had a good run in London. And, I thought that could be the end of the journey for me. But thankfully, it kicked off and we launched in April 2021.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. And today we have nearly 50,000 users, which is fantastic. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
Wow. What
Yeah.
an impressive journey.
Thank you.
And, what fascinated me most is the way you threw everything at it, even despite the obstacles and challenges that came along.
Yeah.
You said, you know what, I'm facing this headlong. This is one of the issues that we have to go through as founders. Things don't always go the way we plan. So have you had to pivot this app? You started off with, okay, it's for single parents, but what are the features that along the line you had to drop or add something to it when you're iterating?
It's a great question. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the main challenges is childcare. So for me, I didn't want to just create a normal dating app. I wanted to include something that made us unique for single parents. And that for me was childcare. So I partnered with Bubble, which is the UK's leading childcare and nanny app, to partner with us on the app so that all of our users can book instant childcare through the app at a discount. So there's no excuse not to go on a date, because my friends have given up on me, Bookie. They're like, you always tell us you don't have a sitter. You're not fun anymore. So it's really something that I think the market, but also users appreciate that it's something very specific to single parents, and no other dating app has done that. So that's something that we've kind of done that has made us stand out, I think, in the market. And then down the line, we also had to, and this is something I didn't know. So being a single parent, there's kind of 4 main categories of being a single parent. You're either divorced, you're either separated, you could be widowed, lost a loved one, but there's also solo parents. And this was something that was kind of new to me at the beginning. I did not consider solo parents. I'm very thankful that we have really great user feedback, because this lady wrote to me and she said, I don't know, I don't fall
category?
Yeah. I got to an age where I didn't have a partner. I wanted to become a mother, and I had a child through IVF, solo IVF. So where do I fall? And I said, thank you very much. I'm very sorry. We will add it immediately. And we certainly added solo parents, so that we had to adapt and pivot to that. Also, we were also blamed for being binary at some point, as we weren't open to transgender or non-binary users. So we also had to pivot in that sense and be more inclusive. So now the app caters to all male, female, transgender, bisexual, and all of your sexual orientations, as well as non-binary. So those were, I would say, the 2 things that we've had to pivot and adapt to along the way.
Fantastic. So, like I always say to founders, you don't need to have it all figured out right from the beginning. It's progress over perfection.
Yeah.
And new things will come up, like you just told us now, user feedback.
Yeah.
First thing first is to get the app out there into the hands of the users, and then iterate. Fantastic. So I know you kind of touched on it a little bit. What made you transition from marketing to being a tech entrepreneur, an unknown terrain with no tech background? Wow. So how did you navigate that?
So firstly, I'll have to say thank you, COVID, because if it wasn't for the pandemic, I would not be here with PlayDate, because it's kind of what pushed me. It gave me the time to actually think about this idea. And I've also been to so many conferences and events about tech companies, where they say you really don't need tech background to come up with a tech product. And I was very nervous about that, because I do feel at a disadvantage of not having that tech background, because I'm actually, we had some technical difficulties starting up today, and I feel like this is awkward. We should know how to do these things, but actually you don't. If you have the right people around you, and you can find people that are experts in every kind of field. If you find the right people to help you, it's quite easy to kind of if you've got the good business idea and you've got a sound model.
Yep.
It works. But yeah, I was thrown into being a tech entrepreneur because of COVID and the pandemic, and the fact that I had lost my previous business, and I was kind of forced into giving it a go.
Fantastic. And how are you finding it so far? One of the best decisions you've ever made?
I think so. I feel very fulfilled and satisfied. I think when any founder, because it's your own, yes, there's so many, it can get very isolating. It can get very lonely as a founder. It can get extremely stressful. And I think mental health is, everyone's talking about mental health in the workplace. And I think founders really need a lot more attention in that sense, because a lot of the times we work on our own, we work nonstop. it's not a 9 to 5 job and you go home and, you can switch off. It's a constant thing. Weekends, holidays, I went on holiday for a month this summer and I was working for most of it, which is great. And I think we're very privileged to be able to do that as founders. But I think it's for me very rewarding and fulfilling to see the journey that I've come on so far. But it can get very isolating, I think, at times, and stressful. So it's great to have these conversations with other amazing female techpreneurs, because it really does help.
Yes, thank you so much. And that is one of the things that made me set up Female Techpreneur, because running a business, starting up as a startup, small scale, you're literally wearing so many hats.
So many.
You're the accountant, you're the lawyer, you're the decision maker, you're the admin, and you're having to do it, especially if you're bootstrapping.
Yeah.
So which of your skill sets from marketing have you been able to make use of in this other business that you're doing? Why am I asking? I feel like no knowledge is wasted. Regardless of anyone's background, you should be able to still make use of what skill you have when you transition into a tech entrepreneur. So I suppose that will give you a leverage in marketing, because that's your, superpower. So I've seen you on TV and different adverts and programs going, initiatives. How did you manage to break into that?
Good question. So I'll have to say, because I'm a marketing professional by career, and I really truly believe that marketing is everything. And, I have a great CTO, and a tech team. And when I sit with them, marketing is of no interest to them at all. But I honestly believe with any business, any product, any service, it's of course the product has to work, but I'd say 80% marketing contributes to the success of any business, in my opinion. And I truly believe that, because if you've never heard of it, you're not going to know about it, and you're not going to use the product. It could be an excellent product or an excellent app, but if it's on nobody's radar, then that's, it's not going to get used. So I think that did help me a lot, especially when we launched. So my network of PR, my background in marketing has really helped me put the word out there about PlayDate. So I could tap into all of my previous networks, as well as my skill set on social media, whether it's design or whether it's content creation, and you don't realize that you acquire these skills over the years, because you usually have other agencies that do it or other people that do it. But knowing how it works has really helped me. I think 50% of our success so far would go to all of the press coverage that we've managed to achieve free of charge, really, as well as all of the kind of social media and marketing tactics that we've used to slowly grow our user base. So I think marketing is everything. You have to have a good product, but I think marketing is key.
I agree with you.
For any business.
100. Like I say to some people, so we're all in the business of promoting or selling. So a teacher is promoting education.
Yeah.
Even people of Christian faith, they're selling Jesus.
Yeah.
So, and some founders feel like, I don't need to be heard or known or seen. It's all about the products. And I keep telling them,
no,
it's the other way around. You need to be visible. You need to promote your products, and getting the marketing mix right makes a lot of difference in whether that product is going to fly or not.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for that. I really agree with you. I know it's difficult. It's not everybody's niche. It's not everybody's cup of tea.
No. And also for founders, just a piece of advice. You are the brand. So all of the startup founders out there, and I know lots of friends who are in the startup world, they say, I hate putting my pictures up or talking about myself. But you go speak to investors to raise money. You go and convince a partner to partner up with you. You go and look at, brands to give you discounts. You're constantly selling yourself, but also your business. So and I learned this along the way. I didn't have this kind of confidence at all. But it's something that you acquire and you have to learn, because you are the brand of your business and you are the face of your business. So if an investor will invest in your business, probably 80% again, because they believe in you and what your capabilities are, to see your journey and to see what you've been through, whether you are resilient, whether you adapt to change. All of these things matter a lot, as well as having a very good sound and a product and service. But I just want to stress on the importance of founders as being the brand and face of their business.
Wow. Are you listening, guys? if you're tuning into this podcast, if there's one thing you're taking away from this is you are the face of your brand. People buy from who they love, like, and know,
True.
and probably trust. So if you're not there, you have to be the one cheerleading your own products. You have to be the one speaking about it, getting people convinced. If you're not convinced, or you're convinced but you don't want to show it because you're probably not the person, maybe you're introvert or whatever, you need to start reconsidering how you want to position this product that you're building and make sure that you are in the forefront of everything.
Exactly.
Because as Nevine said to us, investors invest in people. So if they have confidence that, Bookie can deliver this product, can take it to the next level, they'll put their money down. So now back to investment. So how have you raised at all, and how was that for you?
Well, I had no experience with fundraising before. And I have to say it's a very humbling experience. By humbling, I mean you have to be ready for rejection, and you have to be able to handle the no's and the silent treatments and the no responses. And it's a very, very, very humbling experience. So we did raise. So as I mentioned, it's a bootstrap business originally, but we got to a stage where we ran out of funds and we needed the money. So we've raised a pre-seed round early this year. And that took me 6 months.
Wow.
6 months. And I did not realize, and you get meetings and you have to pitch the business, and then they keep you warm, and then they say, we'll come back to you. And then it's, oh, sorry, I got sick, or I was on holiday. And you have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and have several conversations going at the same time. And what I've learned is that these are all even when you get a no, it doesn't mean it's a no forever. It could just be, it's not yet for them. But it's as one lady said at CogX Festival last week at the O2, there was a tech festival. And one lady said, for female entrepreneurship and fundraising for females, she said, every no is one step closer to a yes. And I really like that. And that stuck with me because it's true. So we had about 20 no's from VCs and investors and angel networks. And we got a couple of yeses. And those yeses have really helped us. So I would just say persevere, don't give up, but it's a long game. It's not, you have to start fundraising at least 6 months in advance, maybe a year if you can, because it can get very stressful. And it takes a long time. And these are all relationships that you have to cultivate. So there's lots of things available on LinkedIn and online where you can have lists of VCs and investors. So I would always recommend to founders, and I share these lists with them. So people contact me and say, oh, Nevine, do you know anyone that could be interested in investing? I'm happy to share all of my contacts and lists because I want to see other female entrepreneurs succeed. And I think it's good for us as a gender to see a rise in successful female businesses. The online dating space is very competitive and very saturated. But I believe more in collaboration than competition. And I really think if another dating app succeeds, that's good for me, because when I speak to an investor, I can give them examples of other dating apps that have done well or have followed, that I can follow in their footsteps and show them, look, they've done amazingly well. So I believe very much in collaboration and not competition when it comes to operating in any startup space. But fundraising is, it's not something fun. And I'm in the process of now fundraising again for our next round. And it's a bit distracting from actually focusing on the business. But as founders, as you said, we wear so many hats. We have to keep it going.
Yeah.
But it takes time.
So what would you say are the key recipe for success for anyone that wants to raise? What were the things that kept you going in the 6 months with the no's, the challenges, preparing the pitch, speaking? What are the recipe that, from your perspective, from your experience, that you can share?
I don't know. I don't even know if I've managed to achieve success yet, but I would say having a very clear pitch, first of all. Investors receive millions of pitches a day. I think the first couple of slides of your pitch or your elevator pitch has to be the most compelling. Your story as the founder is very important. They're investing in you as well as the business. So it's really important to highlight your journey and what your vision is with the business, but also to be very clear on what's the proposition, what problem are you solving with the product or the service, and how are you providing that solution, And how are you going to stand out from the crowd? What makes you different from what's already out there? I think if you can get those 3 points right at the beginning of your pitch, investors will be engaged with you. The other piece of advice would be to have a team. And I say this because I didn't have a team for the longest time. I was a solo founder for the first 2 years of PlayDate until I created a team around me. So a CTO, a business advisor. It's very important to have a mentor. So my business advisor was amazing because we all have areas of our strengths, right? So I'm very strong with marketing. I'm strong with brand, with strategy. But when it comes to finances, I'm not very good with numbers. When it comes to actual tech, I don't really know much about software development or coding or any of those things. So I don't have benchmarks for what's good and what's not.
Standards.
So I think having a team helps because it shows, first of all, that other people are invested in joining your journey. And startup life is not easy, and it doesn't pay well usually because, people cannot afford to pay people massive salaries in a startup environment. So having a team that has a varied skill set is quite important, even if they're not full-time staff, but they're part-time or they're agency partners. But when you're in a room with investors and you've got experts in each particular field that's important for your business, that goes a long way with investors. So have a clear pitch deck, not too long, and have a team or at least someone else with you in the room presenting.
Okay. So you just told us, well, you may not have hit the budget of what you're looking for 100%, but you've started the journey already.
Yeah.
And you have some things to show for it. So you touched on having a team. For somebody that's bootstrapping, that's just starting and don't have that much money, how do you go about having a team? Because most times people have to be rewarded for their time. So is there any insight into how you went about doing yours?
Sure. So very good questions, Bookie. It's really good questions. First of all, I would not underestimate your friends and family. Just look around you at your network. You'd be surprised at how people that know you and trust you and are even in your social circle would be happy to help you. And again, it doesn't have to be full time. These are people that have seen your journey, they believe in your vision, and they want to help you. So I wouldn't be shy in asking friends and family of, okay, who wants to, and everyone's skill set. So I actually reached out a friend of a friend, or it could be someone who works with a friend, and tap into your existing network, because you'd be surprised how a family member or a friend could actually join you on your journey and help you. The second thing would be that, yes, you might not have the money to give them, or a salary or a fee, but you can always give them a part of the business, and that's something that every startup does, is that they give them, it's called sweat equity, where you can give them a bit of the business, and then they really feel invested because they feel that they own part of the company with you, so they can join you on that journey. And they have to believe, obviously, in the long-term vision and potential of the business. So I think those two things would help a lot. Looking at your existing friends and family, and their friends and family and their colleagues, but also looking at giving people sweat equity, or working out a deal where, listen, we haven't launched yet, but in a year or two, we can revisit and look at a fee structure or commission, depending on the business. But I feel like sweat equity goes a long way, especially in a startup culture, because people want to feel like, they own part of something that could be really big one day.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And it's about letting people have a stake in it. It's good to be part of something rather than all of nothing.
True.
Because one can choose to be a lone ranger for a long time, but how far are you going to go? So I agree with you that it makes sense to have a team, because you can't do it alone.
And then there's burnout. I mean, I reached days when I really felt completely burned out.
Yeah.
Being a mother as well, having to, take care of everything, school, house. It does get too much. And especially you want someone to bounce ideas off of, it's making all of these big decisions on your own, even for the most confident and most experienced founder. You still need at least one other person to speak to about the business that has your best interest at heart.
You're absolutely right. Because when we started our conversation today, you asked me, "Oh, I know you have somebody working for you. Do you have any other person in your team?"
Yeah.
And interestingly, I just had a team set up for female tech, and one of them has been watching for over 2 years, but she didn't have the capacity.
See?
So she came to me and said, I'm ready now. I've got some capacity and I can help you. So
that's amazing.
And I've seen the tremendous impact of these people. You know yourselves, if you're listening to this podcast.
We appreciate you.
Eternally grateful for your support. And I don't ever underestimate the weight they've taken off me by even just bouncing ideas.
Absolutely.
And nothing is too much or too little, in terms of working with other people whilst we're building our businesses. So don't think, if I share my idea, they're going to run off with it or this and that. There are measures to put in place. Obviously, you need to trust and know who you're working with. So let's move on to PlayDate app. How's PlayDate doing in the market? How's it panning out? Is it giving you great rewards, or where is it at the moment?
So we launched in April 2021, and we were at the time the first dating app for single parents. We now have 2 other dating apps for single parents in the market. So we have competition now, which is great, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah.
Because it shows you that there's space in the market for more players. It's lovely to be the first. The pioneer, and we will always be that, and I'm very proud of that. But now it's not just about being the first, it's about being the best and the first. So it's good. Competition keeps us on our toes. And it just shows that there's room for more players. And also investors like that. They like to see other players in the same space, and to see, how it's going. So I'm quite proud of what we've achieved. We managed to still have our USPs, which is, the childcare component, and also our name and brand, which I think also has equity in it. The fact that it's called PlayDate is something that's very much related to parents. Every parent would get that. So we are now at around 50,000 users in the UK. We're obviously focused now on monetization. So we've got a freemium model with the business. So everyone that downloads the app can use it for free on a basic membership. But then we have premium, which is a paid membership. So we were at the beginning just focusing on the growth acquisition, which has worked well. But now it's about, now we've got these users. How do we get them more engaged with the app and get them to pay for the services? Obviously, it's a business that it needs to be commercial as well. But we also want to work on our matching algorithm, for example, which is how do we enhance or increase the percentage of success on the app as well. And we have to be careful because there's privacy. We handle personal data. So privacy and security is very, very, very important for us. And it's something that we are investing in and focusing on, especially lately, because these are not just regular users, they're parents as well. And they put their children out there. A lot of users, put images of their children on the app, and they feel safe within PlayDate, but we need to ensure, we need to always take measures to ensure their safety.
Okay.
So we're focusing on that. And then hopefully we are looking at expanding outside of the UK as well. So this is the exciting part. So we're working on a plan to expand as of early next year, 2024. The US is obviously our biggest market. In the UK, there's about 3 million single parents. Wow. In the US, there's 20 million. And worldwide, there's 320 million single parents, which is quite a large market. So if you look at the global market of single parents, that's huge, and there's so much potential. So we're working on getting the product really perfected and ready to scale into other markets. And hopefully, once we're in the US, we can roll out to Europe and the rest of the world.
Wow,
so that's the plan.
Big plan.
Big plan.
Achievable. Because you've done all this by yourself up to now with your team, obviously. So in terms of the features, so anyone that's listening to us now and is a single parent and they're wondering, PlayDate, okay, so what are the key features? What are the things that if I was to sign up, what would I get?
Okay, so firstly, you get a pool of single parents only. So you have to be a single parent to join the app. So if you're someone looking for a meaningful relationship as a single parent, we've kind of done the shortlisting for you. We've cleaned up filtered out. So it's all single parents. You might not find love, but you might find friendship. Mm-hmm. And so everyone has a shared similar experience. Our filters on the app are very much based on single parents. So you can put in if you have your custody arrangements, for example. So if you have shared custody, if you don't have any custody at all, you have to answer in the filters things like whether or not you're open to having more children. So for example, I would love to have more children, and I would only like to date someone who's open to having more children.
Yeah.
So you also filter based on that. Again, if you're widowed, you would probably want to be with someone who's also widowed and has a shared experience, so you can match based on that. So it's not color of your eyes or your height or what university you went to. It's very much about your single parent lifestyle and what you're looking for in terms of the next relationship and how involved are the kids in your life, the age of your children. So, for example, I have a 10-year-old boy. I would love to be with someone who's got a similar age child. They can become, siblings, brothers. And my vision and the end goal really with PlayDate is to create more blended families. And by blended families means, kids from previous marriages or relationships blending into one new family unit. And yes, I'm very much a feminist and independent woman, but I do understand the value of having two-parent households and the effect it has on children's well-being as well. One of our investors is a VC, a social impact VC. And when we pitched the business to them, they immediately saw it as social impact. And they said, actually, you're contributing to the well-being of families and of children's emotional and mental well-being and upbringing. So actually, blended families would be beneficial for children and for, obviously, it's a happy mom, a happy child. We all deserve love and a second chance at love. So they'll find the pool of single parents that match their criteria and match what they're looking for in terms of their next life partner, with the kids being an integral part of that journey, of that relationship. And that's understood from both sides.
Yeah. I think you're meeting a fantastic need because that part of the market has been left for quite a long. I have family relations that are single parents and they struggle to find partners or even go on dates, as you said. So well done. Thank you. And I can't wait to see where PlayDate is going to get to the next year or so. Let's go back to female techpreneur now. So why are you, I'm looking for the right word. What makes you want to share your story with female techpreneur community? What led you to this platform, and how do you hope to inspire other aspiring female founders?
Well, you led me to this platform, Bookie. It's all of your excellent work and PR. No, honestly, I'm very much about networking and, coming from the marketing world and event space. I really believe in collaboration and connection. And I think together we are better. It sounds a bit cliche, but it's true. We are we can get more done together. I'm very much about women empowerment. I want to support women where I can. I'm not competitive by nature, so I'm happy to help other people within my same industry, or even, I would love to see more people succeed. And I think my story, because it's when I even listen to myself telling my story, I cannot believe that I survived and thrived in such difficult times, both personally and financially and from a business perspective. So I think what I want to share with aspiring female entrepreneurs is that nothing is impossible, really. If you believe in something, you have to take a risk. And there's so much that can come out on the other side if you take risks. I am a risk taker. I'm very lastminute.com. You'll find me doing things that most people say, "Are you crazy? You can't do that." I'm stubborn by nature. So I think these are all qualities. Yes, they could be negative in some ways, but we have to feel empowered or to feel motivated. If someone tells us we can't do it, we have to prove them wrong and give it a go. You have nothing to lose. What would happen if you're going to fail? Failure is always a learning. You learn from that failure. And I think everyone that has an idea should pursue it. Yes, not all ideas are great and not all ideas are feasible. But if you really believe in something and you're passionate about it, go for it. And I don't have any money or I don't have a team. Go and get it and find people and talk to people. You'd be surprised who can help you. I'm very much a go-getter, and I really believe that if you don't ask, you don't get. So, for example, we're now advertising on ITV, national television. Yeah, and I would never in my wildest dreams imagine seeing a startup advertising on national television around the show hosted by Nevine Coutry. Millions of people are watching it every night. And people ask me, how did you do that? I knocked on doors day in, day out, and I got so many no's, so many, "Oh, sorry, that's too expensive for you. We don't take startups." And I really wanted to be part of it because it really fit with my brand and was so aligned with PlayDate and what we're all about that I was determined to find an angle. So if you really try hard, I ended up in someone's inbox who has an incubator program for startups in ITV. And he said, we love your brand. We love the business. It's very much aligned with what we're doing with the show, My Mom, Your Dad. I don't know if anyone's watching it, but I'm completely hooked. I'm like watching it every night. It's such a captivating show. And they said, we love it and let's have a chat. And it was something that was beyond my wildest dreams. I was about to give up on it, but I said, so you have to really go after things, even if they seem impossible or crazy or, that's so out of reach. Nothing's out of reach. You won't know unless you try, right? So I just want female entrepreneurs and techpreneurs to even if you don't have that confidence, try. What's the worst that could happen? You don't get a response, or you get a no, or someone rejects you. Move on to the next battle or to the next challenge.
Wow, I'm so inspired right now.
Thank you.
And how you knocked on doors, and even though it looked like it wasn't going to happen, it happened eventually.
Yeah.
Profound. So, message to you, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's listening, don't give up. Don't give up on that dream. Don't give up on that vision. If it's still hounding you, if it's still there, whenever you sleep and wake up, then you know you need to take action. All right? Take action. It might well not work. Nobody knows, but at least it's one thing off your bucket list. Done. Tick it off. Move to the next one. And then it might turn out to be a great success. And you've done it. So don't sit on it. We've just heard from Nevine right now that, whatever you set your mind to, push, knock on all doors. Don't relent in your efforts. Surely you'll come out right on the other side. So how do you balance entrepreneurship and parenthood? Because it's always a constant battle, because you're juggling and you still have to have time for your son as well as run this business. So, and I know in the beginning you moved from Egypt to the UK. So you originally didn't have that family support around you and all that. So how are you balancing it now? Has it eased off and,
I don't think there is a balance really, Bookie. I'm just trying to I'm doing the best I can. I think all parents try the best they can. As a founder, when I look back, when I had my marketing agency, I was actually not a present mother at all. When I look back, I was traveling all the time. I had a full-time nanny. I would barely make it home in time to see my son before bed. And all of these things, I was so focused on getting my career on track that I do miss those days. And I can never get those years back, My son was 4 or 5 years old at the time. And I was so focused on doing well. And I was happy, fulfilled in my job. But I feel like you always feel as a parent, a working mother, even divorced or not, single parent or not a single parent, that you're always compromising on one side, or you're not doing enough in the workplace or at home. You always feel like you're not 100% somewhere. And I think as parents, we will never be 100% somewhere. The moment you have children, everything changes, your priorities change. And I work so that I can provide for my son and give him a good life. So it's a bit of a catch-22. And then all my money actually goes to childcare, so I can be away from my son to work to make money for my son. So it's a bit like, what are we doing, right? And sometimes I think to myself, why don't I just not work at all and just be a stay-at-home mom and focus on my son? And then when he's older, I'll think about myself. But actually, that would make me a horrible parent, because I would be bitter towards myself and to other people. I will feel like I don't have a life purpose, because our children will eventually grow, and they're going to leave us, right? They're going to grow older, and they're going to leave us, and they'll have their own girlfriends and their own families. And then we'll be on our own and would have wasted all of those years. So I'm not encouraging women to not work, but for us to be able to be founders and have the flexibility of working from home or working when you're on a holiday, that has allowed me to be able to drop off my son at school and pick him up and then carry on working from home. As a founder, we always work nonstop anyways. So it's, whether we're at home or not at home. And I found that because of PlayDate, I'm actually a lot more present as a parent for my son, which I'm very grateful. So it's very hard to balance it. I just feel like we will never be 100% focused on life, on the kind of the life part, and 100% on work. As parents, you will always have to split yourself down the middle somehow.
I agree, because I've been asked that question before. That's how do you find a balance? And I said, balance is an illusion.
Exactly.
you just have to keep juggling, and you have to keep setting priorities, daily priorities.
Yeah.
What are the things that need to get done now, today? Is it my son's sports day? Is it work?
Exactly.
And just keep prioritizing. And most importantly, looking after your well-being. Without you, there's no business.
Yeah.
If you're not healthy, if you're burnt out, if you're overwhelmed, then the business is going to suffer. So you have to look after number one as much as possible. So on that note, thank you so much for sharing your fantastic journey with us today. I've learned a lot. You've inspired me. And I just want you to say a little bit more to founders that are looking to raise. I think that funding journey is a different kettle of fish altogether. So how do you, where do you even start from? Like, if somebody's listening to us right now and is like, oh, I think I've run out of money and I need help,
Well, firstly, it depends on which stage they are in the business journey. Are you starting out from scratch? Is it just an idea in your head? Or have you actually created something and it's proving to be working? So it really depends on which stage you're at. But I think the most important thing is have your ducks in a row, in the sense of really know what you've got and what you're asking for, and be very clear and try to put yourself in the shoes of an investor. Why play devil's advocate? Why should I invest in you? And why should I invest in this business? Because they can be very harsh, and they've got experience, lots of experience in kind of selection and knowing which businesses have what it takes to become something. So I think really know what you're asking for and give yourself time. So if you're running out of money, that's not a good sign, because you're going to be in a desperate situation. You're going to go to investors and be like desperate to take anything they're going to give you. And you don't want to be in that position. And we got very close to that position when we were actually pitching, because it took me 6 months when I thought it would take me 3 months. So I was really towards the end of it. And you have to keep a very kind of straight face with investors that you're fine. But actually, you don't want to be in a situation where you're desperate and they have the upper hand. You need to show that you've got a MVP, which is, minimum viable product, which is something that works, or you've already launched and you can show traction, or you can show growth. It has to be one of the two things. If you're at the conceptual phase, it's a lot harder to raise money. But there's all kinds of investors in the different stages. So you have the early stage investors that actually invest at the conceptual phase. You have pre-seed, you have seed, you have Series A, and it really depends on where you are in your journey and what you want out of this partner. Do you just want money, or do you want someone with expertise, or do you want someone that can help you hire a team? So it depends on your requirements as a founder. Mm-hmm. Do I know exactly what I'm doing, so I just need cash in the bank, or do I need someone to hold my hand through this journey and actually open doors for me and help me enter into a market? So it really depends on where you are in your journey and what you want out of the investment. If it's just money or also know-how and help. So, but please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, anyone that's listening, and I'm happy to share lists and names and ideas and anything to help you on your journey. But be prepared, start early, give yourself 6 months to raise the money, because it does take time, and follow-up is really, really important.
Okay, you heard Nevine telling us follow-up is important. And think of what you actually need, because it's not a one cap fits all, depending on where you are in your journey, depending on what your product is and what you need. You may need somebody that can open door for you, not necessarily the money, So if you are a single person, single parent, and listening to us today, please go on. Where can they find the app, and where can they find you?
So the app is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play for Android devices, and you can download it for free. And you can find me on LinkedIn, Nevine Coutry, or you can email me at info@gotoplaydate.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great. So please do connect with Nevine, and we are looking forward to always talk to female founders, aspiring founders, and even people that are looking to scale. So what would you like to say to anyone that's looking for community where they can get support, share their stories and things like that?
I think communities like female techpreneurs, it's amazing. And it's exactly what we need, I think, as female founders. Just sitting here chatting with you, I feel already inspired and feeling quite confident and happy about what we're doing, and all of us together in the space. There's loads of other communities similar to Female Techpreneur that support female founders. I'm very time poor, so I don't have much time to attend evening events or get-togethers, but there's so many meetups out there for female founders, lots of events, lots of pitch competitions as well. I didn't know about this, but there's apparently across the country, there's lots of pitch competitions just to get you practicing. It gives you like 10 minutes to go and present and get feedback from people in the industry that can tell you, oh, you could do this better, or actually, your pitch needs this. So I would encourage everyone to sign up to all of these kind of events and competitions, but also to reach out to other female founder communities such as Female Techpreneurs and others.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you're wondering what is Female Techpreneur is about, we are a community for female tech startups. Whether you're looking to launch your idea or you're looking to scale, we offer different programs to help you be more visible, get access to resources, connect you to help that you need. So check us out on LinkedIn. We're all on all the different social media channels. And my name is Buki Babajide. I'm your host today. I've had a fantastic time speaking with Nevine. I think you're just brilliant, and I'm not single, but I could plug in easily into the app, the solution you're trying to create for the well-being of both the parent and the child, the community as a whole, and also, making sure that there is that continuity in building. Like I said, if you help a woman, you're helping a community. So I'm not saying most people that are single are predominantly female, but at least, that opportunity to be more inclusive, and also to look at people that are sole parents. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful having you on this chat.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for having me and for allowing me to share my story.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
And please connect with us, and let's keep it going. Let's keep encouraging and supporting each other as entrepreneurs.